My girlfriend said, "Be cool or it's over." After inviting her ex to our party, I smiled, welcomed him inside, then said, "She's all yours, man," and walked away. I, 31 male, am or was a planner. I'm an architect and my life is built on blueprints. I like things to be precise. For the last 2 years, I've been with Karen, 28. She's not a planner. She's a vibe person. I thought it was a good balance. I was the foundation. She was the chaotic, beautiful facade. We've been living together for about 8 months in an apartment I absolutely love. The lease is solely in my name. I'd signed it before she moved in. I pay about 70% of the rent and all the utilities, which was my choice. I make good money. She's a part-time stylist. It worked. To celebrate. I don't know. Us. I decided to throw a massive spring party. This wasn't just some kegger. I spent weeks. I'm a bit of a tech head, and I just finished installing a custom-built smart home system I call Aura. It's my baby. It's not some off-the-shelf thing. It's a dedicated server in the hall closet running custom scripts. It controls every light, all the music. I have multiple zones, and the 3 large digital art displays I have in the living room. It's impressive. Karen loved it. She called it our ultimate party trick. I'd spent about $1,200 on catering. I'd personally curated a bar cart with about $800 worth of high-end tequila, whiskey, and gin. The Aura playlists were timed to the hour. The digital art was set. I was ready. Then 3 days ago, Tuesday, she drops the bomb. She's been weird all day. "Hey," she says, not looking at me. "So, you know how Julian is in town?" My stomach dropped. Julian, 29, is the ex. The one she always said was a soul-crushing breakup. The one she swore she was totally over, but whose name still came up way too often. "Yeah," I said, trying to keep my voice neutral. "Well, I ran into him, and I invited him to the party on Friday." I just stared at her. "You invited your ex-boyfriend to our housewarming party without asking me?" "God, Alex, don't be like that," she snapped. "It's not a big deal. We're friends. We're mature adults. He wanted to see the new place. It would be weird not to invite him. I'm not comfortable with that. Karen, this is our party for our friends." "It's weird. I don't want him here." This was it. The moment I should have seen it all. Her face hardened. She crossed her arms. "Look, he's coming. I already told him he could, so uninvite him." "No, I'm not going to be immature just because you're feeling insecure. He's my friend and he's coming. It's not a big deal unless you make it one." She took a breath and delivered the line that changed everything. "Just be cool about it." Seriously, if you're going to be paranoid and weird, it just makes me think we have a problem. Be cool, or it's over. Or it's over, just like that. She was holding our 2-year relationship hostage, and the ransom was my self-respect. I looked at her, really looked at her. She wasn't nervous. She was daring me. She'd already made her choice. She was testing me to see if I'd roll over. A strange calm washed over me. The anxiety, the hurt, it just evaporated. It was like looking at a blueprint and finally seeing the fatal design flaw. "You're right," I said. My voice was quiet. Her expression softened immediately, a smug little smile playing on her lips. "See, I knew you'd understand." "No," I said. "I mean, you're right. I'll be very cool." Friday night, the party. I was the perfect host. My friends Ben and Will showed up first. My colleagues from the firm started rolling in. The apartment looked incredible. The Aura system was humming. The ambient lighting was a warm amber. The music was perfect. The digital art was slowly cycling through minimalist landscapes. The catering was a huge hit. I was charming. I was funny. I made drinks. Karen was in her element, wearing a red dress that I now realized he probably liked. Around 900 p.m. The doorbell rings. Karen looks at me, a nervous warning glance. "Be cool. Don't worry," I said, smiling. "I got it." I walked to the door. There he was, Julian. He's exactly the type you'd expect. Kind of scruffy, artist vibes. Probably fined himself a lot. He looked awkward. "Oh, hey, Alex. I'm Julian." I put on my biggest, most welcoming host smile. "Julian, welcome. So glad you can make it. Curran's been dying to see you." I grabbed his hand and shook it firmly. "Oh, a cool. Thanks, man. Great place. Thanks. We love it." Karen came gliding over, all smiles. "Julian, you made it." She gave him a hug that lasted about 2 seconds too long. He kissed her on the cheek. I watched this, the mature adults, and then I turned to Karen. My smile was still locked in place. "Well, he's here. My job is done. You two have fun." I walked past her and grabbed my jacket from the hook. Her smile vanished. "What? What are you doing?" "Alex, stop being dramatic. People are here." "I'm not being dramatic," I said, sliding my phone into my pocket. I turned to Julian. He looked completely baffled. "She's all yours. Man, I was just leaving." "Leaving?" Karen hissed. "Alex, get back here." I walked out the door. My friends Ben and saw the whole exchange. They know me. They knew this wasn't a stunt. As I was walking down the hall, I heard the door open behind me. Alex. What the hell? It was Ben who was right behind him. "It's over," I said. She gave me an ultimatum. I took it. "Let's get a drink." Ben looked back at the apartment where the music was still playing perfectly. "Dude, what about all this? Not my party. Not my problem. My other friends, my colleagues, they saw me, the host, leave. Then they saw my 2 best friends leave. The vibe shift was immediate. We got in the elevator. I pulled out my phone. I opened my custom Aura app. I tapped the script I'd written years ago as a joke. System_shutdown_H hard. "Shh, what are you doing?" "Being cool," I said. Back in the apartment, as Ben told me later, was chaos. First, the music just died, cut off mid-beat, then every light in the apartment, all 32 smart bulbs, snapped from warm, ambient amber to their default, 100% brightness, sterile 400,000 white, like an operating room. Then the 3 digital art displays all went black. The entire party, about 30 people, just stood there in dead silence, blinking in the horrible fluorescent light glare. Karen apparently started frantically tapping at the wall panels, which were now just useless plastic. My friend Ben said Julian just looked around and said, "Whoa, weird." My colleagues, bless their hearts, saw their opening. "Oh, wow. Look at the time. I have an early morning. I think my cat is sick." Within 10 minutes, every single one of my friends and my colleagues was gone. The party Karen wanted, it was her, Julian, and about 4 of her girlfriends standing in a dead, silent, blindingly white apartment with a mountain of rapidly cooling, very expensive catering. My phone started buzzing before I'd even gotten to the lobby. "Karen, turn it back on now. Karen, Alex, you are a childish a-hole. Turn the lights back on. Karen, you ruined it. You ruined everything." I sent one text back. "You told me to be cool, or it's over. I chose over. Please have your things out of my apartment by the end of the month." Then I blocked her number and I went out for whiskey with my real friends. Update 1, 1 week later. The fallout from the party that wasn't was immediate. Ben and Will. And I went to a low-key bar and my phone was just a vibrating brick on the table. Calls from numbers I didn't recognize. Text from her bestie, Alana. Alana, Karen is crying. You're a monster. How could you humiliate her like that? Alana, she invited one person. You destroyed your whole relationship over one guy. You're pathetic. Alana, turn her internet back on. She can't even watch TV. Ah, yes. The Aura system wasn't just lights and music. It ran through my server, which also acted as the primary router and firewall for the whole network. When I ran the shutdown script, I shut everything down. No Wi-Fi, no Netflix, nothing. The apartment was a dumb box. I ignored them. I spent the weekend at Ben's decompressing. We ordered pizza, played video games. It was nice. But I knew I had to deal with the apartment. I'm the sole leaseholder. She's a long-term guest. But in my state, after 30 days, she has rights. I had to do this by the book. I unblocked Karen on Monday, just long enough to deal with logistics. Me? Karen, I'm serious. The relationship is over. I need you to be out by the 31st. Let me know when you'll be moving your things. Karen, you can't be serious. You're kicking me out. Over a party after 2 years. I live here. Me? You don't. You live with me, and now you don't. You're the one who said, or it's over. I just agreed. Karen, you're a sociopath. Alex, a cold, calculating psycho. You tricked me. Me? Telling you I'd be cool and then leaving when you disrespected me isn't a trick. It's a boundary. You have 26 days. Karen, I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. You'll have to evict me, and I'll tell everyone what you did. She was calling my bluff. The problem is, I don't bluff. This is where the entitlement just goes off the charts. Her mother, Daria, called me. Daria, Alex, honey. I just spoke to Karen. She's an absolute wreck. I'm so disappointed in you. You're a 31-year-old man, and you threw a tantrum like a toddler. Me, Daria, with all due respect. Karen gave me an ultimatum. She told me to accept her ex-boyfriend, or our relationship was over. I accepted her terms. Daria. Oh, don't be so literal. She was just upset. You know how she gets. And Julian is a friend. You were just jealous. Now you've made her homeless. Me? She's not homeless. She's living in my apartment, rent-free with no Wi-Fi, and she has her friend Julian staying with her. I'd say she's doing fine. Daria. Silence. Julian staying there. Me? Yep. Saw his jacket on the couch when I wait. No, that's for later. Point is, she's not my responsibility anymore. She needs to be out. Daria, you can't just throw her out on the street. She has nowhere to go. She put so much work into decorating that apartment. You owe her. Side note. Her decorating consisted of 3 throw pillows and a scented candle she bought at a discount store. I paid for the $4,000 sofa. She put them on? Me? I don't owe her anything. She has until the 31st. That's the law. Goodbye. Daria. I hung up. Then came the dirty trick. I get a call on Wednesday from my building manager, a guy I know well. We've talked shop about the building's infrastructure. Manager. Hey, Alex. A weird call. We got a complaint from your unit. Mo from Karen. Manager. Yeah. She said you'd abandoned the apartment and that you were unstable, and she was afraid you'd come back. She asked us to change the locks to protect her. My blood ran cold. She was trying to lock me out of my own apartment. Me, Frank, it's Alex. I am a sole leaseholder. You and I both know that. Karen is my ex-girlfriend, not a tenant. She's refusing to leave. I am temporarily staying with a friend to de-escalate. She is the one who is not supposed to be there, and she's letting an unauthorized guest, her ex-boyfriend, Julian, manager size. That's what I thought. Look, I can't change the locks for a non-leaseholder. But Alex, this is messy. You need to get her out. She's claiming tenants' rights. Me? I'm way ahead of you. This is where my planning kicked in. This isn't a TV show. You can't just throw someone's stuff in the hall. Step 1. I hired a process server. Cost me $150. He formally, legally, served Karen with a 30-day notice to quit. This wasn't a text. This was a legal document. The clock was officially ticking. Step 2. I needed my stuff, my Aorus server, my work computer, a custom-built tower, my expensive espresso machine, and my booze. I texted Karen, I'm coming by tomorrow at 10:00 a.m. with a police escort, a civil standby to retrieve my personal property. You are required to let me in. She didn't reply. So, yesterday, Friday, I showed up. 2 cops met me in the lobby. Civil standby. You're Alex. Let's go. We go up. I use my key. The door is dead bold from the inside. The cop knocks. Ma'am, this is the police. You need to open the door. The leaseholder is here to retrieve personal property. We wait. Finally. The door opens. There's Karen in my bathrobe, hair mess, and behind her, on my sofa, Julian, shirtless, the entitlement to be in my apartment with the guy she blew up our life for. You can't just barge in here, she shrieked. The cop, a woman who looked like she'd seen it all, just sighed. Ma'am, he's on the lease. You're not. He's allowed to be here. We're just here to make sure this stays civil. Let him get his things. Julian, the artist, actually tried to stand up. Hey, man, this isn't cool. This is our place now. I just looked at him. Is your name on the lease? Did you pay the $4,200 rent check last week? No. Then sit down and shut up before the cops add you to the eviction notice. He sat. I walked in. Bannon were with me as witnesses. Cops said it was fine. I went straight to the hall closet. I methodically began unplugging my server rack. The brain of the aura. Karen just watched me. Her face pale. You're taking that? The lights won't work. They're just dumb lights now. Karen, you'll have to use the switches like a caveman then, and we'll started carefully boxing up my desktop PC. You can't take the computer. I use that. You have a laptop. This is my workstation. I paid $5,000 for the graphics card. It's mine. Then I went to the kitchen. I unplugged my $900 espresso machine. Alex knows, she wailed. That's ours. Was it? I have the receipt. It was my birthday gift to myself. Finally, I grabbed a box and went to the $800 bar cart. I started emptying every single bottle. The good tequila, the small batch, rye. All of it. Julian actually said, Dude, not the booze. I just paused, held up a bottle of single malt scotch, looked at him, and put in my box. We were in and out in 15 minutes. As I was leaving, Karen was just standing there, finally crying. You're so petty. Alex, you're stealing. This is cruel. I stopped at the door. No. Karen. This is mine. Cruel was giving me an ultimatum. Cruel was inviting your ex to my home. Cruel is, well, this. I held up the 30-day notice. The process server gave you this, right? You have 28 days left. After that, the sheriff comes, and he won't be as cool as I am. I left them in a silent, dark Wi-Fi, coffee-less, boozeless apartment. Ben, Will, and I are about to go set up my server at Ben's place. This is far from over. I know she's not going to leave quietly. Final update 3 months later. The last 2 months were not fun. This is the part of justice that isn't sexy or fast. Reddit. It's just a grim, expensive bureaucratic slog. So, did Karen leave at the end of the 30 days? Of course, she didn't. I got a call from her mum, Daria, about a week before the deadline. Daria, Alex, you can't really go through with this. Karen is a mess. She'll have an eviction on her record. That's permanent. It will ruin her life. Me? She's had 30 days to find a new place. Daria, she's an adult. Her choices have consequences. Daria. But Julian left. He just left her. She's all alone. She can't afford a deposit on a new place. You know, she doesn't have any savings. I'm supposed to be surprised the scruffy artist dude bailed the second the free booze. Cool tech and luxury apartment were gone. Shocking. Me? That's not my problem. She's not my girlfriend. She's a squatter in my apartment. The 30 days are up on Friday. If she's not out, I'm filing the eviction. Daria, you bastard. After everything she did for you, me, what exactly did she do for me? Besides this, goodbye. Friday came. I went by with Ben after work. Her stuff was still there. She'd locked herself in. So, Monday morning, I was at my lawyer's office. This is the real-life part. Folks, I had to hire a lawyer. Cost me $500 just for the retainer. He filed the unlawful detainer lawsuit. It cost me money to get my apartment back. It took weeks. We got a court date. Karen naturally didn't show up. So, we got a default judgment. Then, we had to wait for the sheriff to post the notice to vacate another 5 days. It was a 45-day process from the 30-day notice expiring. 45 days of me living on Ben's couch, paying rent on an apartment I couldn't use. The day the sheriff came to forcibly remove her was something. I was there with the landlord and 2 sheriff's deputies. She was still in there crying, screaming. You can't do this. This is my home. Alex, you're a psycho. You're obsessed with me. The deputies were having none of it. Ma'am, you have 15 minutes to gather your essentials. The rest will be moved to the curb. She just lost it, full-on screaming on the floor tantrum. They had to physically escort her out. It was pathetic. After she was out, the landlord and I did the walkthrough, and that's when I saw the real entitlement. She and Julian, before he bailed, had been trashing the place. It wasn't just messy, it was malicious. They had taken a knife or a key and scraped long, deep gauges into the hardwood floors. They had poured what looked like red wine all over my $4,000 sofa. It was ruined. They had taken a hammer to the digital art displays I'd left on the wall. They were hardwired. I couldn't take them. Smashed in the kitchen. They dumped an entire bag of flour and coffee grounds into the sink drain and run the water, creating a concrete-like clog. Total damages. The landlord's guy estimated around $11,000. My sofa was another $4,000. I just stood there. I wasn't even angry. I was cold. On the kitchen counter, under a half-empty fast food bag, was a note. Hope it was worth it. You psycho. You ruined my life. So I ruined your sanctuary. You'll die alone. That note was the best $150 I ever spent. I gave it to my lawyer. So here's the justice part. It's not fast. It's methodical. Part 1. The landlord. He was livid. He used my security deposit, which I paid for the repairs, and then immediately went after Karen and unnamed occupant John Doe, aka Julian, for the remainder of the $11,000 in damages. He had my witness testimony and the police report to me. I took the receipt for my ruined sofa. I took the photos from the walkthrough. I took the receipts for the lawyer, the process server, and the court filing. I filed in small claims court for the maximum amount, $10,000. She was served again at her mother's house where she'd been forced to move back in. We had our court date last week. She showed up with Daria. She tried to lie. Karen, Your Honor, he's abusive. He locked me out. He stalked me. He turned off my heat. The heat was gas. It was never off. Judge, ma'am, I have the unlawful detainer judgment right here. It says you were removed by the sheriff. Let's talk about the damages. Karen, it was already like that. He's just trying to get money from me. He's rich. He's an architect. I have nothing. Me, calmly. Your Honor, here are 30 time-stamped photos from the party on day showing the apartment in perfect condition. Here are the photos from the walkthrough with the sheriff's deputies. Here is the receipt for the $4,000 sofa. And here is a lovely note she left me admitting to the damage. I handed the judge the note. He read it. He looked at Karen. Judge, I ruined your sanctuary. Ma'am, did you write this? Karen turned white. I won. Judgment for the full $10,000. So, the fallout? Karen has an eviction and a small claims judgment on her public record. Her credit is shot. She'll be lucky to rent a garage apartment. She's 28, living in her childhood bedroom with her enabling mom. And I've already filed the paperwork to garnish her wages from her stylish job. It'll take me years to get that $10,000 back, but I'll get it $150 at a time for years. Julian, the landlord, and I both named Julian in our suits. The eviction is on his record, too. As an unauthorized occupant who was party to the damages, I heard he moved back to his hometown, his artist career over me. I'm at my legal fees and a hassle. The sofa is gone. I'm not replacing the aura system. I'm kind of enjoying the silence. I'm using dumb light bulbs. It wasn't a clean win. It was a messy, expensive, and stressful extraction. But I'm free. She thought she had all the power. She thought I was a doormat she could issue ultimatums, too. She thought I'd be cool and let her walk all over me. She wanted to see if I'd blink. I didn't.